Thank you for ordering FFR Merchandising's Power Zone Pull-Out Drop-Down Overlay. Before beginning installation, be sure you have all necessary components, including installation sheet, nut driver with hardware, 2 sets of metal brackets, clear dividers, paddle extenders, and overlay base with integrated front fence. You will also need a tape measure to determine the correct bracket for your produce case. It is recommended that you start installation on a stable flat surface rather than inside the case. Begin by snapping dividers in place on the front and rear rails. You may need to apply a moderate amount of pressure to engage. Once installed, you can slide the dividers to accommodate various package widths. Then, slide paddle extenders all the way down each paddle. Next, you will need to take a measurement from the top of your shelf to the bottom of the nearest upright slot to determine which bracket you will need. If the measurement is 1/4 inch or less, use bracket B. If 5/16 to 7/16 of an inch, use bracket A. To determine the placement of the brackets, measure the distance between the center of each gondola slot. Next, locate the 2 latches on the left side and right side of the front of the overlay base. Lift up and pull the overlay forward slightly to expose the bracket studs in the rear. Using the slot centerline measurement, lay the brackets over the studs on the shelf so that the bracket teeth face upward. Using the nut driver and nut, loosely fasten each bracket to the shelf. Do not tighten completely, as you may need to make slight adjustments when installing into the uprights. With the overlay still pulled slightly forward, carefully place it on the shelf where it will be installed. Align the bracket teeth to the center of the upright slots. When centered, fully tighten nut with the nut driver. To engage the brackets into the uprights, lift the front of the overlay approximately 5 to 9 inches and insert the bracket teeth into slots. Lower the front of the overlay and verify that the bracket teeth are securely engaged with the standard slots. Now push the overlay towards the back of the case so that the latches catch. Test by gently pulling on the overlay. Installation is now complete. To operate your new pull-out drop-down overlay unit, lift the latches on both sides of the front of the unit and pull forward, this time pulling all the way out. Notice that when fully extended, the overlay will now drop down and the paddles will be held back. You are now ready to stock your product. Once fully stocked, simply lift up and push back to engage the latches. You may need to adjust facing widths as you stock your set. To do so, you will likely need to adjust the placement of the paddle assemblies. Begin by pulling the shelf approximately halfway out. Using one hand, separate the wires that are holding the paddle in place. Pull upwards on the paddle and it will release. Be careful not to twist the paddle, as this may damage the spring. Next, carefully rotate the spring 90 degrees and disengage from the slot. To reinstall, follow the previous steps in reverse. Start by rotating the spring 90 degrees and insert into the desired spring slot. When released, it should lock in place. Next, separate the wires slightly and press the paddle down to engage. Adjust the clear dividers as needed. If drop-down feature is not desired, install optional shelf stops. To begin, Lift the latches and pull the overlay out far enough to expose the rectangular slots on the side of the unit. If dividers are installed, remove them in order to gain access to the shelf stop area. Next, locate 2 shelf stops and screws. Insert the stop into the slot so that the rectangular fitting is snug in the slot hole. Insert screw and tighten with a Phillips head screwdriver. Not included. Repeat for the other side. Your installation is now complete. If you have any questions or issues while installing your overlay, contact our customer service department at 800-422-2547.